All right, I'm sorry. I had to stop the broadcast. I got a bit distracted. It's a pleasure to be meeting you this morning. I am Adebayo Samuel Adedoyin, and I am here again as we used to. Um, we have been doing this live podcast for quite a while, and we are focused on values and character development. Okay. Last week, my wife had a topic on discretion, discretion, and that was a topic that really opened our minds and our thoughts to certain things that in our lives that needs to be that we need to pay attention to. All right. Actually, today I'm starting a bit early because I need to be somewhere, but I need to do this as I'm supposed to start at 7 a.m. But I'm sorry I'm starting this early. But we will do a watch party at 7 a.m. And then at 7 a.m. we will be able to everybody can have access to it. Hello, if you are joining us today, Bani Baseveni. It's a pleasure meeting you here live on our platform. Please, if you can reach out to other people as well, it would be a pleasure as well. Thank you for joining us. The topic today is is discernment, discernment. It's a topic that many people are not used to. Actually, it's a topic that is usually used in the or talked about within the Christian circle. But I see it as a value and a character that we can develop. All right, and that's why I decided to include it as part of the things that we are going to be talking about when it comes to values and character development. And I keep hitting it hard when it comes to nation building, when it comes to community development, when it comes to personal development. There is no way we cannot talk about values and character development. And we have been going through this series for quite a while. Now, this is the part 20, and we are still counting. There's still a lot of things to talk about. We need to do this because it should be on record. There should be an archive where people can reach out to and can get some development from. All right. Some people think that they are limited to knowledge. Some people think that they don't have access to information. But we are doing this kind of videos so that people can have access to what they can use in developing themselves, especially in areas where there is limited resources in terms of and information and of course areas like Africa where people uh, are restricted to what is in the environment, all right, alone. But of course, when there is an opportunity to come to social media, they can see this kind of videos and they can learn from it. Great. Let's go ahead. We're talking about discernment. Okay. Um, I got a quote from a writer called Steve Connell. All right, and he puts this quote this way: I was unaware that gaining wisdom necessitated many hardships and trials. Gratefully, we have a promise of wisdom from God when we face the perplexing circumstances that so often comes with our trials. Great. Now, this quote will help me to launch into the topic about discernment. We live in a world that is full of so many things. I don't want to particularly say chaos because there's a lot of order within the world at which we live in. Yet within the order, there's still so many things that are chaotic. All right. Every now and then we are faced with so much evil all around us. Okay. Many of those kind of evils are not particularly seen as an evil. They are masked as a norm. They are masked as something that is just a custom or the tradition of a particular people or environment. It could be situations that we go through, all right? Every now and then we are faced with challenges, things that affect our day-to-day living, okay? And then we go about life in different ways and at different times, and different seasons. We experience life, as they say, comme ci, comme ça. It is just the same, a routine, all right? But those whose minds are open, those whose minds are alert, those whose minds are working, they have the ability to pause and ask questions every now and then. They have the ability to look around themselves and perceive that something is not the way it ought to be, or something should be this way or that way. We read in newspapers every now and then. The newspapers, they claim, or the journalism world, the media, what they are meant to do is to feed the public with the truth. All right, to feed the public with information, to feed the public with issues, with things. But many a time when we sit behind, or we sit in front of a television, or we are reading the newspapers, okay, or we go through the online news, we get so many stories, features, things that when we go through them, we follow them, we see a lot of inconsistencies, which only those who have a discerning mind will be able to figure out. Those who have a mind that is open, those who have a mind that scrutinizes, a mind that is aimed to find the truth. Only those kind of mind will be able to figure out in the media what is not true, what is half truth, what is junk, all right? What ought not to be, all right? And that is why we are talking about this topic. Charles R. Swindoll, an evangelical Christian minister, has this to say. He said, we need discernment in what we see, what we hear, and what we believe. We need discernment in what we see, what we hear, what we believe. Of course, it's what we see that determines what we see and what we hear that determines what we believe, right? So it means that we have to be careful what we believe. Okay, because somebody comes to you and tells you of something, you need to have a discerning mind to be able to figure out if what the person is saying is true or if it's not true. Okay, a discerning mind will be able to figure out what we call the truth within so many truths. All right, great. So a discerning mind is able to open his mind and look at so many things and judge what should be, what ought not to be, what should be priority, what ought not to be a priority. Okay, so we have to guard our hearts with all diligence. We have to guard our minds so that our minds are not corrupted, so that we are not led astray. Okay, so that we are not being swayed by so much news here and there in our society, in our community, or even within our clique of friends as well. A discerning mind is able to know the thoughts of men. If you're talking to someone, for example, you know, someone who you think is close to you, it could be your spouse, it could be your friend, it could be your brother, it could be your sister, it could be even your parent. From your discussion, you will know what is going on in their minds. They may not say exactly what they are thinking, all right, but from what the person is saying, you can read between the lines. You can know where he or she is coming from if your mind is alert. Okay, that is why we are talking about this topic, discernment. It is very, very important for us as we are growing. It's very, very important for us as we are trying to improve ourselves. Okay, so the layman's definition for discernment is having or showing good judgment. If you ask someone who has an idea of what discernment is, what the person will quickly say is somebody who has discernment has the ability to show good judgment, or has the ability to have good judgment. All right, but it is far more than that. I went into the dictionary and I found from the Cambridge Dictionary that discernment is having an ability to see, to recognize, or understand something that is not clear. Okay? Ability to see, to recognize, or understand something that is not clear. That is discernment. Okay? So, for example, there is an argument. Okay, lots of people are arguing. Okay, maybe there is a feud so in between two people. All right, they are arguing about something. If you sit back and you listen to both of them, you'll be able to trace what is the root of the matter. That is discernment. That is discernment. Okay, vocabulary.com expresses discernment as an adjective that comes from the old French word discerner, which means distinguishing between, or separating, or sifting from something, which makes sense because someone with a discerning mind, is attributed to tastes. Taste. All right. For example, if you have a good sense of taste, all right, if there are different kind of cooking all around you, you can know which cooking is better, all right, because of what? You have a good sense of taste. Some people, when they eat, they just eat because of they want to eat. But when some people eat, they can tell what are the ingredients put together to make that food. That is part of discernment. Okay, it is like the ability to taste. All right. So using that understanding, and you look at different kind of things, your ability to draw inference from situations or from scenarios, your ability to put two and two together and come to a conclusion in your mind, that is part of discernment. Okay, now there's another Christian blogger that I read from, which says discernment can be, his name is Sinclair Ferguson. Says discernment can be attributed to taste. Again, having the ability to make discriminating judgments, to distinguish between and to recognize the moral implication of different situation and the cause of action. All right, so we have to understand that judgment, because many of these definition I've brought up, I have mentioned, is talking about judgment. Okay, judgment. So, in other words, we can say that the synonym of discernment is judgment. But if you look at it critically, they are not the same. They are not the same. Judgment and discernment are synonymous, but they are different. They are used interchangeably when referring to making right decisions or assumptions, but they are totally different in the sense that discernment is aiming to protect you from making a costly mistake, while judgment is aimed at making a decision based on the assumption or the understanding that you have. So we can put it this way: discernment is like understanding. Judgment is a decision or the action that you take after your understanding. Okay? So it's like one flows to the other. All right? So you see why they are they are different, okay? But because of the fact that they are attached to each other, we can see that they are used interchangeably. Now, you can be discerning. You can have a discerning mind, but yet you are not judgmental. Okay? When you have a discerning mind, you understand things, all right? You understand the reason for things. There's another understanding that I have right now about discernment. When you have discernment, you are able to place the quality of different things. For example, there are different materials, fabrics being given to you. The same design, the same kind of fabric. Yet, if you have a discerning mind, you are able to tell which, even from the similar fabrics, which has a better quality than the other. That is discernment. Being able to differentiate between the quality of things. That is discernment. Okay, great. So I was saying that you can have a discerning mind and not be judgmental. If you look at the fabrics, for example, you can tell which one is of a greater quality, all right? But you can just put those things in their different places, yet you're not being judgmental. Now, when you're judgmental, you push away those of lower quality and you say, this is the best. This is the best. Now, when you are judgmental, you discriminate. Okay? When you're judgmental, you sideline. You put things in the way as if they are not there in the first place, or they are lesser, lesser quality. They are not relevant. All right. But when you have a discerning mind, you prefer. Okay. You don't say outright that this is bad or this is not supposed to be. Okay. So a discerning person is patient, is patient, and treats all things, in a better manner. All right. But a judgmental person, discriminates. That's how to look at it. All right. Now, some people think they have discernment when actually they are just suspicious. Okay. If you look at some people, the discernment is not suspicion. All right. To suspect something means that you look at something as, I think this is this, I think this is that. No, that is not discernment. That is suspicion. When you suspect something, you don't have the full proof about that thing. Okay? But you think in your mind that you have an understanding, sorry, not an understanding. You think that thing may behave this way or is the result of something. You are suspecting, you don't have full proof. The facts are not yet put together. But when you have discernment, discernment is different in the sense that you have the facts. You have the facts, you have the truth. All right? And based on that truth, you have an understanding. Okay? Okay? And you treat things, in likable manner. Okay? That is discernment. You see what I'm saying? So, suspicion is relegated to a mind that is not perfect. I won't say perfect. A mind that is not yet stable. Okay? Because it doesn't have the full facts yet. Okay? It doesn't have the truth yet. When you have a discerning mind, it is stable in the sense that he has all the reasons, he has all the proofs. The facts are there, the truth is there. Okay? And based on that truth, he is making a decision. You understand what I'm saying? Great. Discernment does not only mean distinguishing between, for example, right and wrong, but it also means being able to itemize things in their order of priority. All right? For example, you want to carry out an investigation. All right? You want to do a business. You have got together so many information. All right? And then in your mind, you are thinking, this business, what are the, how can I best do this business? Okay? So you do a survey, right? You do a survey. Who are those people that will need this product? Why do they need this product? How best can I give them this product? How best can I, what can they pay for this? Okay? So a discerning mind does not say, oh, people need this product, and then he goes to go and get the product. He goes to go and sell it. No. A discerning mind prioritize things. You put things in their order of priority. This should come first, that should come next. They are all important, yes, but he prioritizes. That is a discerning mind. Okay? A discerning mind is able to figure out what is the most needful of all things. All right? The most needful, okay? And then he places that thing as first, while other things comes next. A discerning mind is able to figure out what should be classed as primary and what should be classed as secondary. Is able to note what should be focused as permanent and what should be focused as temporary. Discernment can be described as that innate ability to assess a situation, find out what the central problem is, and where the most attention is needed. To the one that has a discerning mind, he or she is able to study another person, understand what is in their heart, and then attend to them in a manner at which will be most appreciated. Have you talked to someone before? The person listens to you carefully. He understudies all that you are saying. He looks at you in the eye and tells you or gives you the understanding of the situation that you are facing. And in your mind, you say, yes, that is what I am looking for. That person has a discerning mind. He is able to look into you. is able to tell, to find out the missing items, and is able to say, if you put this and this together, you will get this. Have you been doing a business and you don't just understand how to do it? You talk to an expert. The expert listens to you, and he says, okay, from what you are doing, this needs to be put right. How needs to be put right? If you put this equation together, this is what you will get. And in your mind, it clicks. Why was I not thinking about this before? I had some idea about it, but I was not too sure. But you're able to help me to put it together. That's a discerning mind. Okay? So a discerning mind works with you, and everything just looks as if everything it falls into the situation of a square peg in a square hole, not a round peg in a square hole. Now it's like a square peg in a square hole. Everything fits in together. It's a discerning mind that can do that, and everybody should have this. Everybody. It should not be only restricted to some gurus or some other people. Yes, it is a gift. Some people have the gift, okay, all right, but we can develop it. We can develop it. Discernment, to be wise is to know reality. A discerning person notices things, is able to pick up on things that many people are not picking up on. He or she notices, for example, the difference between tolerance and forgiveness, the difference between pleasure and acceptance, the difference between sentiments and compassion. Discernment. 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 Discernment shows a kind of attentive respect for reality. A discerning mind has an understanding of reality. Okay? He knows the ideal, but he also appreciates the reality. Okay? To discern realities at their deeper levels, we have to become engaged in them. To bring both empathy and care to what we know. For example, to discern the fears and hope of other people, you need to be compassionate about them, or you have compassion for them. So the knowledge of these people comes in only if your heart goes out to them. All right? So if you want to have discernment, you must be somebody who is patient, who is calm. Okay? Quickly, why is it important that we have discernment? I want to give us three reasons. All right? I'm running out of time. Number one, discernment protects us from manipulations of men. Discernment protects us from manipulations all around us, because we are able to see, able to differentiate, able to distinguish, able to tell, able to prioritize. We don't put our selfish interests first, or our interests first. Rather, we are laid back and we study, we understand, and then we act. Discernment protects us from making wrong judgments. Because somebody who has a discerning mind sieves from the truths, sieves from information, reads between the lines. Discernment protects us from wrong assumptions. Okay? Discernment is able to help us to think clearly and be independent in our minds, because this is as a result of being able to draw inference from a clearly established fact or truth. Discernment helps you to come to maturity, because when you are discerning, you are able to assess situations and come to conclusion in your mind without depending on other people's input or views. Now, quickly, how can we build the skill of discerning, of discernment? As I said before, some people are gifted with discernment, all right? But you can also build it, all right? I read an article some time ago, and I picked up 10 habits of discerning people from someone called Hannah Anderson, okay? Number one, you can build the skill of discernment from research, seeking for knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, you don't have discernment. There must be knowledge to be able to discern. Number two, you build discernment through experience. Okay? Mahatma Gandhi has this to say. He said, I have naturally formed the habit of restraining my thoughts. A thoughtless word hardly ever escaped my tongue or pen. Experience has taught me that silence is part of the spiritual discipline of a votary of truth. We find so many people impatient to talk. All this talking can hardly be said to be of any benefit to the world. All this talking, okay, it is so much waste of time. My shyness has been in reality my shield and buckler. It has allowed me to grow. It has helped me in my discerning of truth. Mahatma Gandhi, the Indian leader, revolutionary leader, said experience taught him. Experience taught him. Experience taught him. We can build the skill of discernment through experience. Number three, through seeking of the truth. We can build the skill of discernment through the seeking of the truth by submitting ourselves to scrutiny, knowing that though opinions and comments exist, but they are no match for the truth. We become sincere with people. We become sincere with facts. We become sincere even with ourselves when we are considering anything, because we analyze things. Okay? Great. Next point. Discernment develops through humility. If you want to develop the skill of discernment, you have to be humble. You have to be teachable. You have to bring yourself low and learn from people. Learn from environment. Learn from ideas. Discernment. Okay? Discernment comes from being positive-minded. If you are pessimistic about things, you can't have discernment. It is impossible. But if you're optimistic about things, about society, about people, you can read between the lines. Your mind will be open. A pessimistic mind is not open. It's closed. A pessimistic mind believes that it can't work. It does not exist. Things like that. But an optimistic mind is open. Okay? Discernment can be built up by pointing out the difference between an acceptable situation and an ideal situation. Having an ultimate standard at which you use to measure all things, sometimes not only by our human standard, but by our creator standard. So when we use the standards of our creator, okay, to assess things, then we can be discerning. Because of course we can measure things by our human understanding and wisdom as well, but the best is through our creator's standards. Okay, we can build discernment through investing in stable relationships with the expectation that it will last. You will understand that true happiness comes from things that are of eternal value. If you want to build discernment, you have to have stable relationships. Relationships that are of good value. Not just any kind of relationship, all right? Not just, keeping relationship that will not last. I mean, that is an old relationship but does not have value. You have to have quality friends. You have to have people who are also aspiring high as you are. You have to be close with people who have good visions, who have good perspective about life. Okay, people who have great standards. All right. If you bring them to closer, you learn from them. You draw from them. All right. You build your own skill of discernment. Okay. You can build the skill of discernment through paying attention to what people say, how they say it, and measure it by their actions. What they say, how they say, and measure it by their actions. You can build the skill of discernment by surrounding yourself with lovers of the truth like you. Those who share their minds with you, who share principles, who share values, who share good character with you. Finally, by always being prepared to help others, not for selfish gain, but out of goodwill, you can build discernment. I'm sorry I have to stop here because I have run out of my time. It's a pleasure speaking to you today. We'll try and do a watch party so that at 7 o'clock people can also watch this live broadcast. So till then, stay blessed. Bye.